Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rancho Sahuarita Living. I am Edwina with Tierra Antigua Realty, and with us is also Christian
Hernandez, loan officer at Loan Depot. Good morning.
Today we have a very special guest with us, Eric Scholl, and he is the owner of Foodie Magoo. Welcome, Eric, and thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's exciting. Eric, you're new to the community. Tell us more about yourself. We see that you're driving, so what's happening?
So my name is Eric. I'm new to the community. I'm from Alaska. I just moved down here pretty much in the middle of the pandemic. We had plans to move down here like in the end of July. But the pandemic kind of changed everything. I had plans to start this business, so I looked at this business pre-pandemic. I was interested in it, and I was kind of on the fence about it. You know, I didn't really know what too much about it. So, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, well, if this isn't an opportunity right now, I don't know what is. And so we decided with my family just to move it, like literally pack up our whole house in like 1 week and then move down to Tucson to start this business up. And like I said, we had plans to start this in July, but the pandemic really kind of expedited everything. And so now we're here, and we're trying to capitalize and give this community a service that I think is much needed and wanted. So we're kind of new. We're in our new stage of the whole business, trying to figure out what works. Still working on certain things. We're always kind of adjusting, trying to get the right sweet spot for everything. So yeah, we're really excited about the community. It's got a small community feel, which I grew up in Juneau, Alaska, where there's 30,000 people and everybody. So it's kind of a challenge to move down here. It's always a challenge to start a new business, but it's a challenge just to do the new business and not know anybody and not have any network. But I definitely appreciate challenges, and I definitely invite them. So it's a great challenge, and so far it's working. I believe it's going to work. So that's exciting for myself and my family, knowing that you're kind of taking a risk on something, and it's actually working. So it's pretty exciting.
So, what exactly is Foodie Magoo? I mean, I know most of them have seen it. The other day I was actually at a light, and it was parked right next to me, and I took a little picture of it. What is Foodie Magoo?
So we're a food delivery business. We're similar to DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats, but we pride ourselves in not taking advantage of people at all. Like Uber Eats, they charge an outrageous fee to the restaurant. It's upwards to 30% of all commissions. We charge only 10% to all the restaurants. We also pride ourselves in having a more upscale approach. Like we use tamper-proof stickers on everything, thermal bags. All my drivers are uniform drivers. They have the logo that identifies them. We use security badges, so like if you see us walking around your neighborhood, it's not just a weird guy with random people just dropping into your neighborhood. We're able to identify ourselves. We have the car toppers, which nobody usually has for those services. So we want to just be, we want to have a presence in the community, but we want people to know we're just not random people. So we have this upscale approach. We do contactless delivery with little tables put on the table. We'll knock on the door, put the food on the table, and then back away for people who want contactless. So that way they don't have to bend down, and that way the food isn't on the ground, which then transfers to the table and then gets on the table. It's just kind of messy, in my opinion. Like in the food industry, like I'm a restaurant owner also in Austin. You're always taught not to put anything on the ground, like no food on the ground. Like a bag of flour, you never put on the ground. You always have everything 6 inches above. And so I think that should be the standard with food delivery, and I don't know why it's not. So we've definitely taken that to the next level. I don't think anybody else, honestly, if I talk to people around the country, I think we're like literally the first people who ever thought about doing that, which is it's exciting to know that, you know, we're thinking outside the box. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're upscale. We do a little bit of grocery delivery. We're going to try to work on getting workplace delivery, which is be able to deliver to people's workplace. Right now, there's not much need to it for it because people aren't really congregating at their workplaces anymore. So eventually we'll start setting that up. But our main objective is just getting every single restaurant to know who we are and partner with them. And then from there we can kind of grow differently. But from now, that's our pretty much our biggest concern right now is getting partnerships.
So it sounds like the pandemic is kind of what got you motivated, but then it sounds like you also already had this idea in the back of your mind. So what made you think that this is the business you wanted? And then how did you know that like Sahuarita had this need? Like, cause we've needed those like that void for a long time. We didn't have that service.
Yes, I'll tell you. So I'm a restaurant owner, right? And being a restaurant, any restaurant owner will tell you it's one of the most hardest professions almost in the whole, out of all the professions. It's super hard. You have employees, you have labor margin, all these margins you have to like be aware of. And, and so like I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So, and I love working with people, and I'm really good with customer service. So I was just kind of thinking, what else can I do that's not so demanding, that doesn't have a lot of overhead, but still is in kind of the feel? Because I love like all my partners I have, like we're all like, I love them, they love me. It's like, it's great to know that you're helping someone out. So like I just kind of was looking at like business ideas. I was looking at buying a business down here, a food business, but I really didn't want to. And I kind of just came across this on one of these business websites, and then I just thought about it. Like I like driving, and it's not hard. You listen to music and you deliver food. It's like really not a hard job. It's not stressful like owning a restaurant at all. And then when we moved down here, we actually started in Tucson, and it was just hard to crack into because there's so much competition up there with DoorDash and Grubhub and all that stuff. So then we were looking at other areas that didn't really have anything going on, and I kind of kicked myself where I wish I just would have started in Sahuarita initially. But we thought Tucson had more population, so we could capture more audience, but that wasn't really the case. So then we came to Sahuarita, and we just started kind of slowly getting partnerships and just slowly getting busier and busier. And then, they had Postmates, I know that, but we did some research, and like they're not really consistent with their delivering and having people on board, and the partners aren't very happy with them. So, we did a lot of research with that, and then just kind of pulled the trigger down here, and it's been working out great ever since. So, it's pretty much the reason kind of why we came down here and started everything. And we had plans to go to Rio Rico, maybe go back up north, but for now we're just really focused on this area, because I think I want to lock up an area, have steady income coming in instead of growing too fast and kind of getting ahead of myself, and just make sure we have a really good product here in Green Valley, because I think that there's a population that can really carry this business, and I really want. I would just be happy with Sahuarita and Green Valley, business-wise. So yeah, that's kind of how we're doing it right now.
That's actually very cool. Could you tell us what restaurants are participating right now?
What restaurants?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we got a lot of restaurants. We got like 25, I want to say. So we have Cheetos, Kebabecue, Up 22. Those are like the local ones. We got Up 22, Triple Play, Coaches, Arizona Family Kitchen, Ragazzi's. We're gonna launch El Patio actually today, which is exciting. A lot of people have been wanting them. And then we have all the corporate ones like Culver's. We have McDonald's, Subway, Panda Express. So we got Denny's, Mod Pizza, Chipotle. We got mostly everybody. Right now, we're just kind of finishing up on the last of the local restaurants. I think we got about 7 or 8 more local restaurants we want to get on board, and then from there we'll be pretty much good to go.
That's very awesome. Do you have a question, Edwina?
What new things can we expect in the future from Foodie Magoo? I know you said a little bit, you touched on it, and you said once we're out of this, funk that we're in and people start congregating, then you're going to focus a little bit more on the business side of it?
Yeah, so the workplace, it's called workplace delivery. It's pretty much like mini catering. So what they'll be able to do, it's really cool technology. So say, for instance, you have your building, right? There's 10 people that you work with, and you're the boss. You want to treat everyone to lunch, right? And so it's just a hassle to go around to everybody and say, what would you like? What do you want? All your details. Everybody picks something differently, right? So it's just like a pain in the butt. So what we do is we get you access to your own account and your own software, like on your app. And what we do is you'll send out a link to your employees for maybe 2 or 3 different restaurants, and then you can set a budget, say $15 for each meal they're allowed to do. And then so you send them out a link, say the day before or the night before, and they hit the link, and it opens up what restaurants are available that you selected, and they're able to order whatever they want from those restaurants. And then they push it back to you, and it has to be done before a certain time, right? Like before 10 a.m. That way the restaurants get it and they know it. And that way it's just cool because they can just look at the phone and just like, what do I want for lunch tomorrow? And then you just pay for it all right then and there. And there's actually other settings where like you don't have to pay for it. You can make them pay for it. You just set it up, say, hey, you guys want lunch today? Like you guys are on your own. I'll send you guys a link. It's just a cool little technology for workplace, and it's cheaper delivery fees because we're dropping all off at once, like 10 people. So we give you guys more of a discount for that. And so it works out better with the workplace delivery. Like you guys can do workplace delivery with the regular traditional delivery, but the delivery fees are a little bit more, I would say, more hiked up a little bit. So, but yeah, that's like it's like basically mini catering, like I say. So yeah, we're excited to do that, but we're just waiting for people to get back to work, kind of thing, right? So.
Well, we do. I think that's going to be a great feature because I remember having a more of a traditional job setting where you would have a meeting and you have to think about what everyone's going to bring for lunch, and then you're passing out the menu and I think a lot of people are really going to appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just streamlined, right? And then like that's like. To the owner, that's like something, or like the assistant, right? That's something that like it's a pain in the butt. Like, oh, let's just get pizza. It's so easy. Like, but not everybody wants pizza, right? So then you give them a few options, and then like they get what they want. Everybody's happy. The assistant's happy because they don't have to go walking around and getting everyone's individual order. So it's a cool feature, and we're excited to start with that. But like I said, we just gotta wait it out until they figure it out, I guess.
Right. So, what has been your biggest challenge? Because I know opening up a business during COVID, that cannot be easy. Like, what's been the biggest challenge of doing that in this time?
So the biggest challenge, I guess I'll give you 2 biggest challenges, one COVID related and not COVID related, I guess. COVID related, I guess in the beginning, we started seeking partnerships in the very beginning, like in the middle of COVID, like pandemic, like right when it started. It was just really hard to find partnerships because it was hard because you don't want to go in and just like kind of intrude on them right away, and people were really scared at that point. So it was like really hard to find partnerships in the beginning because you just don't want to show up at their restaurant and just like, hey, my name is Eric, and like they're like, what are you doing here? Like like, oh, you're probably sick yourself. Like, so it's like, that was one of the issues with the COVID. The second issue that we're kind of having right now, and we're still trying to figure out and trying to, like I said earlier, we're trying to figure out the sweet spot. But it's just like it's a new service, so in this area, they're not used to it. So like the price point, they don't understand like what the consumers don't understand what goes into the price point. Like, you know, the driver gets half of whatever fees they deliver, and then the business gets half. So it's not, so the prices have to be a little more inflated than probably traditional like Domino's pizza, like where it's like a $3 delivery. But we're still less than all of the competitors like DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that. We still charge less. And so that's been kind of an issue where people like, they don't understand like, why is this so much? And I'm like, you know, we deliver out to Quail Creek and we charge by the mile. And so it's like a 10-mile journey. And they're like, why is it? I mean, I'm like, well, you know, the money goes to the driver. They're paying for gas and, you know, all these things. And so like are behind it. And so just kind of having to be, you know, convincing to the public about that. Like we definitely get a lot of negative reviews on the price, and I'm open to adjusting the price if it makes people happy and you know the volume picks up. But there's a point where you can't adjust it low enough where drivers will be happy working here, because it's like then they'll be working for not enough money, and so it's a fine. And then if I don't take as much money, then the business doesn't make any money. So it's kind of tricky with the fees, and it's all due because they've never had, a lot of people have never used or had this service anywhere else because they've always lived in Sahuarita, so they're not aware of why the fees are so high, and so that's
I was gonna say about that, I guess that we're all paying for convenience, right? You know, a lot of us are doing business from home, so sometimes it's hard to, you know, close the computer or get out of your house, drive and buy what you want to eat. So maybe, you know, for all of us, I'm thankful that you are doing business here, because now I'm thinking, you know, the kind of things that I would want to order, and I don't have to get out of my house. I get to continue working and doing my thing. So it's just, I guess, convenience, but I'm very sure, you know, people will understand, and you're just going to start getting more orders, because I think that, you know, for what we've seen in the community, you're getting so much attention and acceptance as well. So that's actually really good.
That's great, yeah. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said, it's a convenience thing, right? And I always tell my consumers, like don't use this service every day. Like I use DoorDash when I'm out up in Tucson or somewhere else. I use the services, and I would never use it every day, right? Like I use it when I go to vacation, or like maybe I had a couple too many cocktails and I can't drive, right? And so like I would never use it every day. It just doesn't make sense. It's not sustainable, right? But if you had a long day, or you know, you just don't feel like cooking and the kids are driving you crazy, or you're hungry and you had too many cocktails, or, you know, like, use us. Like, that's what we're there for. And like, you know, our consumers, like, you know, if you don't have money, you shouldn't be going out to eat anyways, and you certainly shouldn't be using a delivery service on top of it. So that's just like my advice to the public is like, you know, we don't expect you guys to use us every day. That's not sustainable for anybody. I mean, eating out every day is one thing, and then using like a service that, you know, we have to charge because we're a convenience, and then we're upscale too. We're an upscale deliveries, you know, which we still charge less than all the competitors, and so that's just my advice as an owner to my consumers is like, we don't expect you guys to like, you know, use us every day. So
awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
My question would be, what advice would you give someone that is going through these tough times, that it is looking or wants to open up a business?
You know, I think this question I kind of get asked a little bit. There's a lot of people that, and you guys can probably understand, is like a lot of people talk about doing something, or they look into it, and then they kind of just don't do it, right? I'm a big believer in just doing things, and just like when I started my first business, I got the business license, and after that, I was like, this is real. Like I need to do this. And so, if you have, a dream to open a business, like just do it. Don't like sit back. Don't like wait for something to happen. Like just go after it. And we started in Tucson, and it didn't work, right? And so it didn't work. So we didn't quit. We just pivoted to something different, right? And so until it did work. So just like don't give up. Like just always power through. And the biggest thing is just try to pivot. If something's not working, pivot. Like change something up. Change your model up, right? Like your business model maybe seemed good at the time when you started it, but that's not always the case. Like, my business in Alaska I sold shave ice to people in Alaska, like the coldest place in the world, and it was successful, right? And I had people telling me that it wouldn't be successful, and I just told them, I was like, that's fine. Like, I think you're wrong, because kids love sugar, and we do have some hot days, and not only that, we have a lot of indoor parties that we can do parties at. So, thankfully we didn't really have to change much, but that's what I thought. That would be my advice to business owners, is like make your business model, don't give up, change your pivot if you need to, and just keep grinding.
That's good advice, most definitely. And I personally want to say thank you, because I've been saying for a very long time that we needed that service. And like you said, it's not every day. But I know personally, like my husband and I don't even have kids at home anymore. It's just the two of us. And yet there are days that we both have really long days. We come home and all we want to do is like just sit. And like you said, like it's cocktail hour, and then we look at each other and go, oh my gosh, what's for dinner? We don't want to cook. And just the idea of having to go grab something doesn't even sound appealing. And so you just end up eating like something junky that you have. And it would be so much better to go, oh my God, we have all these options now because someone can deliver it to our house. And I've always said forever, I'm like, we need a delivery service for days like this, where you're just like, even going to pick it up sounds like too much right now. It's just been one of those days where I want it delivered to my door.
Right. Yeah.
So,
no.
Thank you. I think it's that whole thing about, during tough times, some people they see it as a lemon, other people see it as a lemonade. Well, you took that opportunity and you ran with it, and I think that's amazing. And I hope that it just continues to grow and people see more value. Because like you said, it's new. We're not used to it out here. We haven't ever had that service. So I'm sure there's people that may not even known, that this kind of service really, like you hear about it, you hear about Uber Eats and stuff, but if you've not used it, it's really foreign to you.
It's definitely, like when I first came down here and I went to use DoorDash, I looked at the price, like, what? This is crazy. And I was like, well, I looked at all I was like, this is the norm. Okay, this is weird. So I was like, well, I'm not going to charge these prices. This is outrageous, right? So in the beginning, I didn't charge those prices. I was charging like really minimal fees. But then I was like, well, dude, I'm getting hit with my credit card processing fees. I'm getting hit with my dispatch fees that we have to pay for. And I was like, I'm not making barely any money with this. Like, yeah, it's like people like the idea of like having cheap, but it doesn't make sense business, right? Like your margins are so tight in any business, and so it's like you have to. So then I was like, I just got to the point. Like, well, I'd rather have less orders, and then make more of a profit margin. That way, my drivers don't get, I just keep less drivers on, and they're happier because it's just they're getting paid more for doing less, and so that's kind of what my thought process is, and it, if you're, like I say, if you're not able to use a service, don't use it. Like you'll have to go get it yourself.
Right. So. Well, there's the right time for it. Another time that I can think of where we used it was when my daughter had her daughter, and came home from the hospital. This was up in Vegas, and we brought the baby home, and even the idea of me leaving the house was scary to her, because she's like, you're leaving me home with a newborn? Like her and her husband, of course, but they both had these whites in their eyes, like, you're not leaving the house.
Yeah.
You're not leaving us here. So I think for like a week we had food delivered because they would look at me like, you're not leaving the house. Something bad can happen.
That's funny. Yeah, we get people like we get kids who will order food for their parents, like in Green Valley where the parents are older, right? And so they'll like order food for them, like because the older parents want to go out but they can't, right? Because they're afraid or whatever. So like we'll have a lot of people order food for people as like a gift. We had a girl order do Chipotle. It was like a $250 order to a nursing home to just pay for all the Chipotle for all the nurses there that take care of all the assisted living people there. And we were able to provide the service that people truly need, and when just because they can't leave their house or or they want to make sure their parents are getting a nice meal every once in a while. So yeah, we look at it that way. It's nice. I mean, when we first started down here too, we wanted to just provide for this community. And like my thing was like, if the restaurants aren't making any money, then I'm not going to make any money. And so like for the first month, like we charged no delivery fee. We just charged their service fee to pay for the driver's wage. So the first month we didn't make any money, just because we wanted to give back to the community and make sure to let them know we're here for them and just to support them and just because like I said, we plan on being here for a long time, and we want to be part of the community. The business wants to support the community. Like I'm a baseball coach, so having a business, where every time a kid comes up and asks for a fundraiser or some donations, it's like you never say no, right? Because I'm a baseball coach and I understand. And so as a business, we do want to support our sports and our community as much as we want, as much as we can with our budget, of course. So, yeah, we're excited to be here long term and look forward to the future. Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you, Eric. I also would like to ask you, where can we find you? Either website? How do we order for the ones that we haven't used your service?
So yeah, we have a website. I recommend downloading the app. Just because it's a little easier, and then we send promo codes to the app, and if you don't know how to use a computer or apps, we have a phone line that you guys can call. That number is 877-616-0066. Some people use that, like older people use that because they don't know usually like the internet and stuff. They don't want to deal with it, and then you can like. If you want a lot more information, go to our Facebook and just like kind of scroll down our posts and see kind of what we're about. I would say, but yeah, those are the three main ways: our app, website, or the phone line.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning to meet with us and kind of explaining to our community that you guys are here and what you're all about. And I wish you all the success because I personally find tons of value in what you're doing, and I'm really glad you guys are here. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Well, and thank you, Rancho Sahuarita, for watching. And as always, if you guys have any suggestions for another person that we should be interviewing next month, either reach out to Christian and I. We hope everybody has a great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.